Hello! Today's video is from a specific angle to show something, namely what gestures or rituals can do for you in the sense of physical movement and what it does, at least for me, because every day I write some things down that I feel grateful for. It can be good stuff in life, but it's also simple things like writing down every day that I'm grateful for the weather because the weather has been great for the past 3-4 months. So that was a lot of fun, but a lot of the times people will try doing this sort of practice, but the real feelings don't come. And it was like that for me as well, at least at the start. But for about the past 5-6 weeks, I've been doing something at the end of my gratefulness practice, which is pretty much exactly this. I just get on my get on my Seiza position where you just have you're on the floor, everything is completely flat, and I do my bows and I bow down. And honestly, this is going to sound ridiculous to some people, but this helps me feel more grateful. This actually activates that feeling of gratefulness. And there's also some other feelings that well up, like devotion, because usually I do this at a symbol or an idol, or I have something in mind, like a thing, whatever, like I'm grateful to something, not just for everything, but for having this chance at all, for things being the way they are. That's what I'm bowing down to, like thank you. And adding this gesture really helped strengthen those feelings. So I've been thinking a bit about the other times where this sort of thing has happened. There was the Amen when I used to go to church and I was praying a lot. Uh, uh, um, or, for example, when you're confessing, or a lot of the time in church, when you pray, you will get on your knees like this, or maybe a little bit angled. Screw this. Yeah. Enough of that. I'm grateful for the pain, but that's enough. Uh, where was I? Yes, gestures. Basically, um, it's the most obvious when I look at religion and religious gestures or cultural gestures, because there aren't that many gestures we still have and regularly do that really have deep meaning to us outside of religion and cultural things. For example, in Japan again, you have the clapping, the bowing before shrines when you visit them. And I found those gestures really help evoking emotions. There's other gestures too, those are also culturally, like the handshake. Having a good handshake and actually shaking people's hands when you meet them, at least in my reflection, it does help me feel more positive towards someone, more open, more trusting towards someone if we shake hands when we get to know each other. Or sometimes even when we haven't seen one another in a while. There's the hug. The hug is pretty cross cultural in terms of how people feel because they usually feel good. Sometimes it's a little bit too intense for people or for cultures, which that's understandable. But the point here is gestures and behaviors involving the body can help you evoke emotions, and they can be learned. Some of them are shared, some of them might have different meanings for different people, some of them might have heavy connotations, but overall, there are gestures, and if you want to be a certain way or feel a certain way, there's a good chance there's a gesture there that you can adapt or learn. And if there isn't, you could make a gesture. You know, it's pretty natural for people to develop behavioral tics at times. At least when I was a teenager, that's something that happened. You know, the classic, oh, I'm anxious, I'm gonna eat on my fingernails, or the thinking pose. Well, usually you would say, okay, so let's say with the bowing down to someone, for example, the gesture comes first. You learn to do the gesture, and then the feelings come. Um, well, the bowing is a perfect example then, because if you learn a gesture and it is associated with an emotion, or you can associate it with an emotion for yourself, then if you want to feel that way, you simply do the gesture. This way you can have influence what you feel. Because if you just do the gesture, you end up feeling a way. This also works not just for gestures, but also for smiling. I don't have the study. I can't pull the study out of my pants, but I remember reading this many years ago that smiling makes you feel happy. So if you smile a lot, you will feel happier a lot. And if you don't smile, there's less chances for you to feel happy. So smile, even when things are tough, even when you're, not having the best time, try to smile. You'll feel better. Sometimes you don't want to feel well and you might punish yourself with not smiling, but the logic stays the same. You want to evoke an emotion, do the gesture. And likewise, if you do the gesture, there's a good chance you will evoke an emotion with that. And yeah, the gesture that made that the most obvious to me was the dogeza, really getting down and really bowing to, well, something, or just in general, just bowing down. So, do you have any gestures like that yourself? Post them in the comments below. I promise I will finally get around to reading comments people leave on these videos, because I have not been doing that. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.